All right, what up, team? Jesus Christ, it's finally over at long last. I bring to you my final update for my Lightning Conduit Elementalist. This will be the final update from the build, progression, how-to side of things. I'll probably make like a build diary and doing some random dumb shit with it. But as far as the actual guide portion, how you should build it goes, this will be my last one. I went through the POB, I went through all the notes. Everything should be good. Of course, in the comments, let me know if you see anything and I'll go in and fix it. But this should be everything. To go over my thoughts on the build, I think overall, this is one of the best builds I have ever played. It pretty much outperformed in every single mark that I expected. It does so much with very little investment. It scales very linearly. It has a really high scaling point. You can do a ton with it. I really like how versatile it is in the sense that you have a ton of different build options. You can get extremely tanky. You can do a ton of damage. It really is up to you. To be honest, I have to say, I do think this is one of the better builds in the game by far, especially from the perspective of an all-rounder. It's extremely fast, has great clear, phenomenal single target. It just does everything you need it to do. It gets very tanky very early, especially if you follow the new POB route that I have, and I will go over that later. But yeah, overall, I think it just is an exceptionally solid league starter. I don't think it scales to the point of, doing Valdos farming or super juiced rogue exiles, that sort of thing. Maybe it could, but that's far beyond me. That's like multi-mirror, ephemeral edge, trickster, armor stacker territory, and I have no idea how to do any of that. But from the scope of a league start perspective, yeah, I think this build is absolutely exceptional. I hit T17s by day 3, and next time I will easily do T17s by day 2, now that I have kind of an idea of what I'm doing, assuming it doesn't get any major nerfs. To go over some of the changes in the POB, I went through and I updated a lot of the notes. There might be some things that I missed, but I updated the vast majority of this. I added in a progression kind of mapping so you know what you want to do, because I found that I had to explain a lot of things like, okay, you need X, Y, and Z for CI, then you should go here, and then you should do that. So I included a progression map that you should just kind of follow loosely if you need an idea. If you want to, follow it hard down to the detail, you're welcome to. But this is just to give players something to reference. I also gave my regexes for T17s and T16s. I gave my current merc setup. Not that I give a fuck about a merc. I didn't do any merc juicing whatsoever. I am not a merc fan at all. I included it in none of my POB settings and none of my POBs. This is the only merc shit that I give. I ran with the fucking D-turn vitality merc with the shaper's seed and some shitty maven boots. Fuck the mercenary. I don't care. I gave you some potential aura options because this was a question I encountered. I went over how to get rid of Shimmeron, and then I included a POB for my actual current character, some other notes about it, and then some final notes for just little random things I was trying to cover. In terms of the actual POBs themselves, I went through and I updated all these. These should all be like fairly streamlined, and they're pretty representative of the exact route that I took throughout this league. And another thing that I wanted to do is that I made it so they have a matching corresponding item set. Last time it was kind of just like a random jumble of shit, which I wasn't a fan of and I thought was pretty confusing. And then of course I did the same thing with skills, so all your skills will be matching as well. I went through and I changed a lot of things. Like we got rid of glancing blows. There's just a ton of changes that happened overall. There's a lot of things that needed to be different and that did not pan out in the actual game. Turns out, something like Tempest Shield is absolutely disgusting. This is far better than something like Flesh and Stone. Glancing blows wasn't really necessary because of Tempest Shield, a lot of things like that, etc., etc. In addition to all these like theory crafting sample POBs, I also include the actual setup for my current character, which is across the board. It has everything. And in this one, it does have the Cluster Jewel and the Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flesh. That's why you won't see these in the notes, in the progressions down here. I don't have them listed. I kind of went back and forth on them. I mentioned them a little bit here. It's just hard to say because there's so many different ways to go about this, but this is the route that I took. Again, there are a ton of different options. I mentioned things as well like Supreme Ostentation and what to do with like a Thread of Hope, because theoretically you get Thread of Hope here, blah, 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 yada, yada. It's all in here. It should go over everything, and it should be more than enough of what you guys need. Oh, I do need to add some stuff for stuns. That should be everything. I will probably post another video about this character, as I mentioned in the beginning, on kind of a build diary of trying to min-max it and hit level 100 and that sort of thing, but that'll be way later down the road. But that's pretty much all I have for the update. I hope I answered 99% of the YouTube questions. If there are any more, feel free to drop them in the comments because I will respond to those. I tried to kind of shotgun blast all of them at once, so hopefully I hit more than not. Anyways, that will be all for me today. Deuces.